How are you guys doing? Today is Wednesday, September 8th, 2021. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review the elite matchups and performances that took place in the MLB, in FIFA World Cup qualifying matches, in soccer as well. And of course, I'm going to preview everything going on today as we navigate through the world of sports one day at a time, as we are one day away from the start of the NFL season. I know this is a very exciting time of the year for many, but first, let me cover what happened yesterday. Starting in the MLB in Cleveland, the Cleveland Indians hosted the Minnesota Twins from within the division, and the Twins would end up beating the Indians 3-0, shutting them out, despite both teams ending up with 7 hits on the day. For the Cleveland Indians, the loss went to their starting pitcher, Aaron Savali. He allowed 1 earned run off of 3 hits in 4.2 innings pitched, striking out 6. With this loss, he's 10-3 on the season. In the Indians' batting lineup, their center fielder, Miles Straw, went 2 for 5. He was the only player with a multi-hit game. For the Minnesota Twins, the win would go to their starting pitcher, John Gant. John Gant allowed no earned runs and 3 hits in the first 5 innings of the game, striking out 7. With this win, he's 5-9 on the year. The save would go to the Twins' closer, Alex Colome. He allowed no earned runs and 1 hit in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter, picking up his 13th save of the year. In the Twins' batting lineup, their first baseman, Miguel Sano, would go 2 for 3 for the day. Also, their shortstop, Andrelton Simmons, would go 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run. With this win, the Minnesota Twins are 61-77. That is the worst record in the American League Central and the 3rd worst record in the American League. They have the worst record out of all teams that are still competing for playoff contention in the American League. They've won their last 3 games and they've won 5 of their last 10. At the moment, they trail the league-leading Chicago White Sox by 19 games the division-leading Chicago White Sox in the American League Central. With this loss, the Cleveland Indians are now 68-68. That is the 2nd best record in the American League Central. They've lost their last 2 games and they've lost 5 of their last 10. At the moment, they trail the Chicago White Sox by 11 games in the division. Jumping out to Pittsburgh, the Pirates hosted the Detroit Tigers in this interleague matchup. And in this game, the Pirates would come home victorious after they would win this game 3-2. After they would come from behind, they were trailing 2-1 going into the bottom of the 6th. And it would be a 2-run single from Ben Gamel that would give the Pirates the lead and the eventual win. For the Detroit Tigers, the start went to Willie Peralta. He allowed 1 earned run in 4 innings pitched, striking out 3. The loss would go to the Tigers' second relief pitcher, Alex Lang. Lang would allow 2 earned runs in 1 inning pitched. He pitched the entire 6th inning. He would strike out a batter. He would pick up his 3rd blown save of the season, and with this loss, he's 0-2. In the Tigers' batting lineup, their future Hall of Fame first baseman, Miguel Cabrera, went 3 for 4. He was the only player on the team with more than 1 hit. For the Pittsburgh Pirates, on the other hand, the start was given to Dylan Peters. Dylan Peters would allow 2 earned runs off of 3 hits and 4 innings pitched, striking out 5. The win was given to the Pirates' second relief pitcher, Sam Howard. Howard would allow no earned runs in the 6th inning, as with his win, he's now 3-4. The save was given to the Pirates' closer for the day, Chris Stratton. Stratton allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out 2, picking up his 3rd save of the year. In the Pirates' batting lineup, their 3rd baseman, Key Brian Hayes, went 2 for 5 with a run. Their left fielder, Ben Gamel, went 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs on the day. With this win, the Pittsburgh Pirates are 50-89. That is the worst record in the National League Central. That is the 2nd worst record in the National League. They've won their last 2 games and they've won 3 of their last 10. They trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 34.5 games in the division, as they are one of 2 teams in the National League who have effectively been eliminated from playoff contention, the other team being the Arizona Diamondbacks. With this loss, the Detroit Tigers are 65-75. That is the 3rd best record in the American League Central. They lost their last 2 games and they've lost 7 of their last 10. They currently trail the Chicago White Sox by 16 games in the division. Jumping out to Miami, the Miami Marlins took on the New York Mets, and in this NL East showdown, the Mets would end up beating the Marlins 9-4. The Marlins would score their first 4 runs in the first 3 innings, but after the first 3 innings, the score was tied at 4. The Mets would create separation with a 3-run 6th inning, and with this win, they now have 70 wins. For the Miami Marlins, the start was given to Edward Cabrera. Edward Cabrera will go on to allow 4 earned runs and 2.1 innings pitched. He would strike out a batter before getting pulled in the 3rd inning. The loss for Miami would go to their second relief pitcher, Paul Campbell. Campbell allowed 2 runs and 2.1 innings pitched as he struck out 2. With this loss, he's 1-3 on the year. In the Marlins batting lineup, their shortstop Jazz Chisholm Jr. went 2 for 5 with a run. Their left fielder Lewis Brinson went 2 for 5 with a run. And then their first baseman Joe Panik would end up going 2 for 5 as well. For the New York Mets, the start and the win went to Carlos Carrasco, his first win with the Mets. He allowed 4 runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 4. With this win, he's now 1-2. In the Mets batting lineup, their elite first baseman Pete Alonso would end up going 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. His 2 hits were his 31st and 32nd home runs of the year. With this win, the New York Mets are 70-69. That is the 3rd best record in the National League East, as they are the 8th team in the National League to cross the 70-win threshold. They've won 8 of their last 10 games, as they now trail the Atlanta Braves by 4 games in the division. And they also trail the Cincinnati Reds and San Diego Padres, in that matter, for that second wildcard spot by 3.5 games. Alongside the Padres, they are the 3rd team, or behind the Padres and the Phillies. The New York Mets at this moment are the 3rd team on the outside looking in. And at the same time, the St. Louis Cardinals are also 3.5 games behind the Reds, just to get a sense of how close the wildcard picture is in the National League and how important this win is for the Mets. With this loss, the Miami Marlins are 57-81. They are tied with the Washington Nationals for the worst record in the National League East and the 3rd worst record in the National League. The Marlins have lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 5 of their last 10. At the moment, they trail the Atlanta Braves by 16.5 games in the division. Jumping out to Baltimore, to Camden Yards, the Baltimore Orioles hosted the Kansas City Royals. The Orioles will pull off a 7-3 home win after scoring 6 of their 7 runs in the first 3 innings. For the Kansas City Royals in this matchup, the loss was given to Jackson Kowar. Kowar would allow 6 earned runs in 6 innings pitched, striking out 7. With this loss, he's 0-3 on the year. In the Royals batting lineup, their shortstop Nicky Lopez went 2 for 5 with an RBI. And then their right fielder Hector Olivares would end up going, or Edward Olivares will go 2 for 4. For the Baltimore Orioles, the start was given to their Alexander Wells. Alexander Wells allowed 2 earned runs in 4 innings pitched, striking out 2. The win was given to the Orioles' first relief pitcher, Mike Baumann. Baumann would allow 1 run in 3.2 innings pitched, striking out a batter. With this win, he is now 1-0 on the season for the Orioles. And in the O's batting lineup, their right fielder, Anthony Santander, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs for himself. He was the only player on the team with more than 1 hit. With this win, the Baltimore Orioles are now 44-93. That is the worst record in the American League East. That is the worst record in the American League. And technically, and win percentage wise, it is the worst record in all of baseball. They've won 4 of their last 10 games, as they now trail the Tampa Bay Rays by 43 games in the division, which is the gap between the best and worst teams in the American League, which at the moment is just smaller than the gap in the National League at the moment. And at the same time, the Baltimore Orioles, along with the Texas Rangers, are eliminated from 2021 playoff contention. With this loss, the Kansas City Royals are 62-76. That is the 4th best record in the American League Central. They've lost 6 of their last 10 games, as they now trail the Chicago White Sox by 18 games in the division. Jumping out to the Bronx, the New York Yankees hosted the Toronto Blue Jays in this highly contested matchup, and the Blue Jays would end up beating the Yankees 5-1. The Yankees would tie the game at 1 in the 3rd inning, but then the Blue Jays would score 2 in the 4th, establish the lead, and run away with it. Lourdes Gurriel's sac fly would give them the lead, and the Blue Jays just ran with it. For the New York Yankees, the loss would go to their elite starting pitcher, Garrett Cole. Cole allowed 3 runs in 3.2 innings pitched. He would strike out 2 before getting pulled in the 4th inning, and with this loss, he's 14-7 on the season. In the Yankees batting lineup, their first baseman, Anthony Rizzo, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI. And their left fielder, Brett Gardner, went 2 for 4. And also the Yankees shortstop, Andrew Velasquez, would go 2 for 3 with a run. For the Toronto Blue Jays, the win went to their starting pitcher, Steven Matz. He allowed 1 earned run in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 6. With this win, he's 11-7 on the season. In the Blue Jays batting lineup, their all-star second baseman, Marcus Semien, would end up going 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 38th home run of the season yesterday. Their designated hitter, Alejandro Kirk, would go 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 3 runs. 2 of his hits were his 6th and 7th home runs of the year for Toronto. With this win, the Blue Jays are 75-62. That is the 4th best record in the American League East. They've won their last 6 games, which is the best winning streak in the American League and the best winning streak in all of baseball at the moment. They've won 9 of their last 10 games as they trail the Tampa Bay Rays by 12 games in the division. And right now, they trail the Boston Red Sox by 2 games for that second American League wildcard spot, as the Blue Jays right now are the first team on the outside looking in. As in the two wild card spots and the first team out, those top 3 teams that aren't division leaders are all American League East teams. With this loss, the New York Yankees are 78-60. That is the second best record in the American League East. They've lost their last 4 games and they've lost 8 of their last 10. They trail the Tampa Bay Rays by 9.5 games within the division as they still hold that top spot in the American League wildcard picture. They sit half a game over the Boston Red Sox despite sharing the worst losing streak in the American League alongside the Baltimore Orioles and the worst losing streak in baseball alongside the St. Louis Cardinals and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Jumping out to Boston, the Boston Red Sox hosted the Tampa Bay Rays, and the Rays showed the Red Sox why they have the best record in baseball. The Rays would beat the Red Sox 12-7 as they scored in the 2nd through 7th innings consecutive in every single one of those innings to score all 12 of their runs. The Red Sox would score 6 of their 7 runs in the 8th and 9th inning after the Rays scored all of their 12. For the Red Sox, the loss would go to their starting pitcher, Eduardo Rodriguez. Rodriguez would allow 6 earned runs in 3.2 innings pitched as he struck out 3. With this loss, Eduardo Rodriguez is 11-8 on the season. In the Red Sox batting lineup, their first baseman, Kyle Schwarber, would go 2 for 4 with 2 runs. Their third baseman, Bobby Dalbec, would go 2 for 2 with 4 RBIs and 2 runs. His 2 hits were his 19th and 20th home runs of the year. Their left fielder, Alex Verdugo, would go 3 for 5. And then their second baseman, Jonathan Arauz, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI. For the Tampa Bay Rays, the win went to their starting pitcher, Drew Rasmussen. He allowed 1 earned run in 5 innings pitched, striking out 2. With this win, he's 2-1 on the year. In the Rays batting lineup, their elite left fielder, Randy Arozarena, will go 2 for 5 with 2 runs. Their elite designated hitter, Nelson Cruz, would end up going 4 for 5 with 4 RBIs and 3 runs. He would hit his 29th and 30th home runs of the year yesterday. Their first baseman, Jordan Luplow, would go 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs, as Jordan Luplow would end up hitting his 10th home run of the season. Also, their catcher, Mike Zunino, would go 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs and 2 runs. He would hit his 28th and 29th home runs of the season for Tampa Bay. With this win, the Rays are 88-51. That is the best record in all of the American League at the moment. They are sharing the second best record in all of baseball with the Dodgers, as the San Francisco Giants still have a better record than them. The Rays have won their last 2 games and they've won 7 of their last 10. At the moment, they sit 9.5 games ahead of the second place New York Yankees in the American League East division. And as of right now, they're holding the number 1 playoff seed in the American League playoff picture, sitting ahead of the second seed Houston Astros, leading the American League West. And they also sit ahead of the Chicago White Sox, who are sitting on top of the American League Central. With this loss, the Boston Red Sox are 79-62. That is the 3rd best record in the American League East, win percentage-wise. They've lost their last 3 games and they've lost 6 of their last 10. They currently trail the Tampa Bay Rays by 10 games in the division, and they are sitting half a game behind the New York Yankees, who are sitting in that first spot. The Boston Red Sox are controlling that second American League wildcard spot, sitting 2 games ahead of the Toronto Blue Jays, who are the first team on the outside looking in. Jumping to Atlanta, the reigning National League champs hosted the Washington Nationals, and the Braves would beat the Nationals 8-5 at home. For the Washington Nationals, the start went to Paolo Espino. He allowed 5 earned runs in 5 innings pitched, striking out 7. The loss would go to the Nats' second relief pitcher, Ryan Harper. Harper would allow 2 earned runs without registering an out, and with this loss, he's 0-2 on the season as he could not get an out in the 7th inning. In the Nats batting lineup, their shortstop, Alcides Escobar, would go 2-for-5 with 2 runs. Their elite right fielder, Juan Soto, would go 2-for-2. He walked twice, had an RBI and a run as well. Their left fielder, Yadiel Hernandez, would end up going 2-for-4 with 3 RBIs and a run as he hit his 8th home run of the year. For the Atlanta Braves, the start went to Max Fried. He allowed 1 earned run in 6 innings pitched, striking out 5. The win would end up going to the Braves' second relief pitcher, Luke Jackson. Luke Jackson would go on to allow no earned runs in 1.1 innings pitched. He would finish off the 7th after Tyler Matzik blew the save, and he would finish out the 8th inning as well. With this win, he's 2-2 on the season. The save would go to Will Smith. Smith would allow no earned runs in the 9th inning as he picked up his 31st save of the year. In the Atlanta Braves batting lineup, their elite second baseman, Ozzie Albies, would go 2-for-3 with 4 RBIs and 2 runs. He would hit his 27th home run of the season. Their elite first baseman, reigning National League MVP, Freddie Freeman, would go 2-for-4 with 2 runs. Their left fielder, Adam Duvall, would go 1-for-3 with 3 RBIs and a run as he hit his 32nd home run of the season. And then their shortstop, Dansby Swanson, would go 2-for-4 with 2 runs. With this win, the Atlanta Braves are now 73-64. That is the best record in the National League East. They've won their last 2 games, and they've only won 4 of their last 10. They sit 2.5 games ahead of the second-place Philadelphia Phillies in the division, and right now they're holding on to that 3rd seed in the National League playoff picture, sitting behind the San Francisco Giants of the West, who are holding on to that 1 seed, and they are sitting behind the 2nd seed Milwaukee Brewers of the Central. With this loss, the Washington Nationals are now 57-81. They are tied with the Miami Marlins for the worst record in the National League East and the 3rd worst record in the National League. They've lost 8 of their last 10 games as they now trail the Atlanta Braves by 16.5 games in the division. Jumping out to Wrigley, the Chicago Cubs hosted the Cincinnati Reds, and in this matchup, the Cincinnati Reds would best the Cubs 4-3. The difference would be in the 8th inning where both teams would score 2 runs, but the Cubs just wouldn't score enough. For the Cubs in this matchup, the loss went to their starting pitcher. Their starting pitcher in this matchup was Adrian Sampson. He allowed 2 earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 2. With this loss, he is 0-2 on the season. In the Cubs batting lineup, their center fielder Ian Happ went 3-for-4 with an RBI and a run. He hit his 20th home run of the season for Chicago as he was the only player with more than 1 hit. For the Cincinnati Reds, the win went to their starting pitcher Wade Miley. He allowed 1 earned run off of 5 hits in 7 innings pitched, striking out 8. With this win, Wade Miley is 12-5 on the season, and the save was given to Michael Givens. Michael Givens would allow no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter. This would be his 6th save of the year. In the Reds batting lineup, their rookie second baseman Jonathan India will go 2-for-4 with an RBI and 2 runs. He hit his 19th home run of the season as he was the only player with a multi-hit game for Cincinnati. With this win, the Reds are 74-66. That is the second best record in the National League Central. They've won only 3 of their last 10 games. They trailed the Milwaukee Brewers by 11 games in the division as they are holding on to that second National League wildcard spot. Barely. They have 1 more win and 1 more loss than the San Diego Padres, which is why they have the slight advantage over them, despite them being even. They sit 14.5 games behind the LA Dodgers at the moment, who are holding on to that first National League wildcard spot. And then with this loss, the Chicago Cubs are 64-76. That is the 4th best record in the National League Central as they've lost only 2 of their last 10 games. They trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 21 games in the division as they are only 2 games away from being out of contention for the division at the moment. Jumping out to Milwaukee, the National League Central leaders hosted the Philadelphia Phillies, and after the Phillies shut them out the previous night, the Brewers were able to shut the Phillies out 10-0, holding the Phillies to only 5 hits. For Philadelphia, the loss went to their starting pitcher, Aaron Nola. Nola allowed 3 earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 6. With this loss, he's 7-8 on the year. In the Phillies batting lineup, nobody on the team had more than 1 hit, and now be attributed to great pitching from Milwaukee. The win went to Eric Lauer, their starting pitcher. He allowed no earned runs and only 4 hits in 7 innings pitched. He would strike out 5 batters on the day, and with his win, he's now 5-5. In the Brewers batting lineup, their second baseman, Colton Wong, went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run. Colton Wong would hit his 26th double of the season. Their elite left fielder, Christian Yelich, would go 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run. And then their center fielder, Lorenzo Cain, would go 2 for 3 with 2 runs. With this win, the Milwaukee Brewers are 85-55. That is the best record in the National League Central. They've won 7 of their last 10 games as they sit 11 games ahead of the second place Cincinnati Reds in the division. And right now they're holding on to that second seed in the National League playoff picture as they still sit behind the first seed San Francisco Giants. And they sit ahead of the third seed Atlanta Braves, who are leading the East at the moment. With this loss, the Philadelphia Phillies are 71-67. That is the second best record in the National League East. They've only lost 3 of their last 10 games as they sit 2.5 games behind the first place Atlanta Braves in their division. Jumping out to St. Louis, the Cardinals hosted the defending World Series champs, LA Dodgers. The Dodgers would end up beating the Cardinals 7-2 in this matchup. After the Cardinals actually had a lead in the third inning, the Dodgers would take the lead in the fourth off of they would tie it off a Steven Souza double, and then a Cody Bellinger ground out would give the Dodgers the lead, and then they would carry it away with the win. For the Cardinals, the loss went to their starting pitcher, J.A. Happ. He allowed 4 earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 3. With this loss, he's now 8-8 on the year. In the Cardinals batting lineup, their left fielder, Tyler O'Neill, went 3 for 3 with a run. He was the only player on the team with more than 1 hit, and for the defending champs, LA Dodgers, the start was given to Corey Knebel. Knebel allowed 1 earned run in 1 inning pitch, and the win was given to the Dodgers' second relief pitcher, Alex Vesia. Vesia would allow no earned runs in .1 inning pitch as he would finish out the third inning. With this win, he's 3-1 on the year. And in the Dodgers batting lineup, their all-star second baseman, Trey Turner, went 2 for 5 with a run. Their all-star third baseman, Justin Turner, went 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. He would hit his 22nd and 23rd home runs of the season. And then their catcher, Will Smith, would go 4 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. Will Smith would have a pretty good game for himself. With this win, the LA Dodgers are 88-51. That is the second best record in the National League West. They've won their last 2 games, and they've won 7 of their last 10. They trailed the San Francisco Giants by a game in the division and for the best record in all of baseball. And also, they are holding on to that top National League wildcard spot, currently sitting 14.5 games ahead of the second place Cincinnati Reds, and at the same time, the San Diego Padres, who are the first team on the outside looking in. With this loss, the St. Louis Cardinals are now 69-68. That is the third best record in the National League Central. They've lost their last 4 games, and they've lost 6 of their last 10. They trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 14.5 games in the division. And right now, they trail the Cincinnati Reds and San Diego Padres by 3.5 games for that second National League wildcard slot. They are the 4th team on the outside looking in behind the Reds, as they are sitting behind the Padres, the Phillies, and the Mets as well. Well, they're sitting even with the Mets, even though they have 1 less win and 1 less loss. Jumping out to Houston, the American League West leaders hosted the Seattle Mariners, and in a game that ended up going to 10 innings, the Astros would end up walking it off of a ground rule double from Carlos Correa. For the Seattle Mariners in this matchup, the loss went to Logan Gilbert. He allowed 2 earned runs in 4.1 innings pitched as he struck out 5. The loss was given to the Mariners closer for the day, Yohan Ramirez. He would allow 1 run without registering an out in the 10th inning, and with this loss, he's now 1-3 on the season. In the Mariners batting lineup, their designated hitter, Luis Torrens, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run for himself. He was the only player on the team with more than 1 hit. For the Houston Astros, the start went to Jake Odorizzi. He allowed 2 earned runs in 5 innings pitched, striking out 3. The win was given to the Astros closer for the day, Ryan Stanek. Stanek would allow no earned runs in the 10th inning, and with this win, he's now 2-4 on the season. In the Astros batting lineup, their elite second baseman, Jose Altuve, went 1-4 with an RBI and 2 runs. He would hit his 26th home run of the season. Their left fielder, Michael Brantley, went 3-5 with a run. Their elite third baseman, Alex Bregman, went 3-5 with 3 RBIs and a run. He hit his 8th home run of the season yesterday. And then their shortstop, Carlos Correa, went 2-5 with an RBI. Also, their right fielder, Kyle Tucker, went 2-4. With this win, the Houston Astros are now 81-57. That is the best record in the American League West. They've won their last 2 games, and they've won 5 of their last 10. They currently sit 6.5 games ahead of the second-place Seattle Mariners in their division, and they're holding on to that second seed in the American League playoff picture, trailing the first seed Tampa Bay Rays out east, and they are also sitting ahead of the third seed Chicago White Sox of the Central. With this loss, the Seattle Mariners are 75-64. That is the second best record in the American League West, as they've lost their last 2 games and they've lost 4 of their last 10. They sit 6.5 games behind the Houston Astros in the division, and they are sitting 3 games behind the Boston Red Sox for that second American League wild card spot. At the moment, the Seattle Mariners are the third team on the they're the second team on the outside looking in on the American League side. Jumping out to Denver, Colorado, the site of the 2021 MLB All-Star Game, the Giants, holding the best record in all of baseball, would end up beating the Rockies 12-3 to pick up win number 89. For Colorado, the loss went to their starting pitcher, Chichi Gonzalez. He allowed 5 earned runs in 1.1 inning pitched. He would get pulled in the second inning, and with this loss, he's 3-7. In the Rockies batting lineup, their elite right fielder, Charlie Blackmon, went 2-4 with a run. Their first baseman, C.J. Cron, would go 3-4 with an RBI. And then their pinch-hitting third baseman, Rio Ruiz, would end up going 2-3 with an RBI. For the San Francisco Giants, the win went to their starting pitcher, Logan Webb. Logan Webb would go on to allow 3 earned runs in 7 innings pitched as he struck out 6. With this win, he is now 9-3 on the year. In the San Francisco Giants batting lineup, their second baseman, Tommy La Stella, would end up going 2-4 with an RBI and a run. Their first baseman, Brandon Belt, went 2-5 with an RBI and a run for himself. Their shortstop, Brandon Crawford, will go 3-5 with an RBI. Their right fielder, Mike Yastrzemski, will go 2-4 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit his 22nd home run of the season. And then their center fielder, Steven Duggar, will go 3-5 with 3 RBIs and a run. With this win, the San Francisco Giants are now 89-50. That is the best record in the National League West, the best record in the National League, and the best record in all of baseball. They've won their last 3 games, and they've won 5 of their last 10. They currently sit a game ahead of the second place LA Dodgers within their division. And in the playoff picture, they are holding that number 1 seed, sitting ahead of the second seed Milwaukee Brewers of the Central, and the third seed Atlanta Braves, currently controlling the East. With this loss, the Colorado Rockies are 63-76. That is the 4th best record in the National League West, as they've lost their last 3 games and they've lost 6 of their last 10. They currently trail the San Francisco Giants by 26 games in the division at the moment. Jumping out to Phoenix, the Arizona Diamondbacks hosted the Texas Rangers, and the Rangers would end up beating the Diamondbacks in this one 3-1. The Diamondbacks would score the first run of the game, and then the Rangers would score all 3 of their runs in the next half inning to win their 50th game of the season. For the Arizona Diamondbacks, the loss went to their elite starting pitcher, Zach Gallen. He allowed 3 earned runs in 6.2 innings pitched, striking out 8. With this loss, Zach Gallen is 2-9 on the season. In the Diamondbacks batting lineup, their first baseman, Pavin Smith, went 2-3. He was the only player with a multi-hit game. For the Texas Rangers, the start went to Spencer Howard. He allowed no earned runs in 2 innings pitched. He would go on to strike out a batter. The win would go to the Rangers' only relief pitcher, Jordan Lyles, as he would allow only 1 run off of 3 hits in 7 innings pitched, striking out 3. With this win, Jordan Lyles is 8-11 on the year. In the Rangers batting lineup, nobody on the team had more than 1 hit. But regardless, with this win, the Texas Rangers are now 50-88 on the year. Also within their lineup, Charlie Culberson, their third baseman, went 1-for-4. He hit his 13th double of the season. With this win, the Rangers are now 50-88. They are the second to last team in the American League to cross the 50-win threshold, just to give a sense of where they are in the season. And alongside the Pirates, they are the third to last team to do it. But regardless, that is the worst record in the American League West and the second worst record in the American League. They've won their last 3 games, and they've won 6 of their last 10. They trail the Houston Astros by 31 games in the division, and they are one of 2 teams in the American League that have been eliminated from playoff competition alongside the Baltimore Orioles. With this loss, the Arizona Diamondbacks are 45-94. That is the worst record in the National League West and the worst record in the National League. They have lost their last 4 games, and they've lost 9 of their last 10. They trailed the San Francisco Giants by 44 games, which is the gap between the best and the worst teams in the National League, bigger than that of the American League. They now trail the Giants by 44 games in the division, as the Diamondbacks are one of 2 teams in the National League who is eliminated from playoff competition in this season, the only other team being the Pittsburgh Pirates right now. Jumping out to the Bay Area, the Oakland Athletics hosted the Chicago White Sox. In this matchup, the American League Central leaders would pull off a 6-3 win to keep their lead and cross the 80-win threshold, be the first team in their division to do so. For the Oakland Athletics, the start went to James Caprillion. He allowed 1 earned run in 4 innings pitched, striking out 4. The loss would go to the A's first relief pitcher, A.J. Pook. He allowed 3 earned runs in .1 inning pitch, striking out a batter. And with this loss, he's 0-3 on the season. In the A's batting lineup, nobody on the team finished with more than 1 hit. However, their second baseman, Josh Harrison, would go 1-for-3 with a run. He hit his 31st double of the year. And, of course, great pitching would be attributed to the White Sox. The win would go to their starting pitcher, Jimmy Lambert. Jimmy Lambert would come into this matchup and allow only 1 earned run off of 3 hits and 5 innings pitched, striking out 2. With this win, he's 1-1 on the season, and the save would go to their elite closer, Liam Hendriks. Hendriks allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning, and with this save, he now has 33 on the season. In the White Sox batting lineup, their center fielder, Luis Robert, went 2-for-6 with a run. Their third baseman, Yoan Moncada, went 3-for-5 with a run for himself. Their designated hitter, Gavin Sheets, went 2-for-5 with an RBI and a run. And then their shortstop, Leury Garcia, went 3-for-4. Also, their second baseman, Cesar Hernandez, went 2-for-5 with 2 RBIs. With this win, the Chicago White Sox are 80-58. That is the best record in the American League Central. They've won 7 of their last 10 as they sit 11 games ahead of the second-place Cleveland Indians in the division. And right now, they're holding on to that third American League playoff seed as they trail the American East leading Tampa Bay Rays and the American League West leading Houston Astros. With this loss, the Oakland Athletics are now 74-64. That is the third best record in the American League West. They've lost their last 4 games and they've lost 6 of their last 10. They trailed the Houston Astros by 7 games in the division, and they trailed the Boston Red Sox for that second American League wildcard spot by 3.5 games. The A's are the third team on the outside looking in at the American League playoff picture, as they also trail the Toronto Blue Jays and the Seattle Mariners. Jumping out to San Diego, last but not least, they hosted the Los Angeles Angels, and in this matchup, the Angels would get the better of the San Diego Padres. And in this matchup, the Angels would shut out the Padres 4-0, leaving the Padres only 4 hits on the day. For San Diego, the loss went to their elite starting pitcher, Blake Snell. Snell allowed 2 earned runs off of 1 hit in 7 innings pitched as he struck out 11. In the Padres batting lineup, their shortstop, Jake Cronenworth, went 2-for-4. And then for the Los Angeles Angels, the start was given to Packy Naughton. Naughton allowed no earned runs in the first 5 innings of the game as he struck out 5. The win will go to the Angels' first relief pitcher on the day, Jimmy Herget. Herget would allow no earned runs in 2 innings pitched as he struck out 2. With his win, Herget is 2-1 on the year. And in the Angels batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit. However, their shortstop the Los Angeles Angels shortstop, Luis Rengifo, would end up going 1-for-4 with an RBI and a run. He hit his 3rd home run of the season for LA. With this win, the Angels are 69-70. That is the 4th best record in the American League West. They've won 6 of their last 10 games as they trailed the Houston Astros by 12.5 games in the division. With this loss, the San Diego Padres are 73-65. That is the third best record in the National League West, as they've lost 5 of their last 10 games. They currently trail the San Francisco Giants by 15.5 games in the division. And right now, the only reason they're out of the National League wildcard picture is because they have one less win and one less loss than the Cincinnati Reds, who are currently occupying that second spot. The San Diego Padres, as a result, are the first team on the outside looking in, because as of right now, they are not in the playoff picture, and this loss did not help them. But right now, that is what the MLB is looking like following yesterday's matchups. Looking forward to what's going on today, because today is Wednesday. You'll see some more early games, as today is Wednesdays and Thursdays are sometimes known as travel days, so teams will usually play earlier in the day, so they get a chance to fly and rest. Starting at 2:10, Jose Urquidy and the Houston Astros are going to host Tyler Anderson and the Seattle Mariners. Jose Urquidy enters his matchup with a 6-3 record, holding a 3.42 ERA. And of course, the Mariners, holding on to that second spot in the division, are looking to fight their way up into at least the wild card. At 3:10, John Gray and the Colorado Rockies are going to host Anthony DeSclafani and the MLB leading San Francisco Giants. DeSclafani enters his matchup with an 11-6 record, holding a 3.24 ERA. At 3:40, Luke Weaver and the Arizona Diamondbacks are going to host Kohei Arihara and the Texas Rangers. Both these teams are eliminated from playoff contention. At 6:10, Tristan McKenzie and the Cleveland Indians are going to host Joe Ryan and the Minnesota Twins. At 6:35, Mitch Keller and the Pittsburgh Pirates are going to host Matt Manning and the Detroit Tigers. At 6:40, Sandy Alcantara and the Miami Marlins are going to host Rich Hill and the New York Mets. Sandy Alcantara enters his matchup with an 8-13 record, holding a 3.36 ERA. At 7:05, Matt Harvey and the Baltimore Orioles are going to host Mike Minor and the Kansas City Royals. At 7:05 at the same time, Luis Gil and the New York Yankees are going to host Alek Manoah and the Toronto Blue Jays. Alek Manoah enters his matchup with a 5-2 record and with a 3.63 ERA, as the Blue Jays hold the fourth best record in the American League and the Yankees hold the second best record, but of course everything's up for grabs. Looking at the other teams that make up the top 4 in the American League East, at 7:10, Nate Eovaldi and the Boston Red Sox are going to host Shane McClanahan and the Tampa Bay Rays. Shane McClanahan enters his matchup with a 9-5 record and a 3.76 ERA on the back of the team holding the best record in the American League, not just the American League East. Nate Eovaldi enters his matchup with a 10-8 record, holding a 3.73 ERA. They hold the third best record in the American League East, as they sit between the New York Yankees and the Toronto Blue Jays. At 7:40, Alec Mills and the Chicago Cubs are going to host Vladimir Gutierrez and the Cincinnati Reds, as the Reds are still fighting for that second wild card spot that they currently hold on to. At 7:40, Freddie Peralta and the Milwaukee Brewers are going to host Kyle Gibson and the Philadelphia Phillies. Freddie Peralta enters his matchup with a 9-4 record, holding a 2.70 ERA for the best team in the National League Central at the moment. At 7:45 on ESPN+, Adam Wainwright and the St. Louis Cardinals are going to host the defending World Series champs LA Dodgers. Adam Wainwright enters his matchup with a 14-7 record, holding a 2.91 ERA against the team that is tied with the Rays for the second best record in all of baseball. At 8:10, the San Diego Padres, led by their elite starting pitcher Yu Darvish, are going to host the Los Angeles Angels, as the Padres are still trying to fight for that second National League wildcard spot, just to at least play at the very minimum one more game at the end of the season. And then last but not least, at 9:40, Frankie Montas and the Oakland Athletics are going to host the Chicago White Sox, led by their elite starting pitcher Dallas Keuchel. Keuchel enters his matchup with an 8-8 record, holding a 5.22 ERA. Frankie Montas enters his matchup with an 11-9 record, holding a 3.68 ERA. The White Sox already have control of their division, but the A's definitely do not have control of theirs, so this is a must-win for the Oakland Athletics, especially at this point of the season. That's what's been going on with baseball. Taking a look at what's been going on with soccer, of course, going continent by continent, because that's how a lot of these countries are doing it. Starting off with the FIFA World Qualifying in the Asian countries, or at least in the AFC, South Korea was able to beat Lebanon 1-0. Japan was able to beat China 1-0 there. In Africa, out of the African countries that go far, Nigeria was able to beat Cape Verde 2-1 in their matchup. Algeria was able to draw with Burkina Faso as well. Taking a look at what's been going on in Europe, Portugal was able to beat Azerbaijan 3-0 as their first goal came from Bernardo Silva. Their second goal came from Andre Silva, and then Diogo Jota would finish it up in the second half. Croatia would end up beating Slovenia 3-0. Also, Denmark would beat Israel 5-0 in their World Cup qualifying matchup. France would beat Finland 2-0 off of a brace from their elite forward, Antoine Griezmann. The Netherlands would end up beating Turkey 6-1 as they would end up picking up a hat trick from their forward who plays for Barca, Memphis Depay, who was the reigning Ligue 1 assist leader. And then Norway was able to beat Gibraltar 5-1, getting a hat trick from their elite striker, Erling Braut Haaland. And that's virtually what's going on that's what happened yesterday with soccer. Taking a look at what's going on today in North America for the World Cup qualifying. Canada's going to face off against El Salvador at 7:30. Mexico faces off against Panama at 8:05. United States versus Honduras at 10:30. In Europe, Belarus is going to face off against Belgium at 2:45. At the same time, at 2:45, Germany is going to face off against Iceland. Italy's going to face off against Lithuania. Spain's going to face off against Kosovo. Switzerland's going to face off against Northern Ireland. England is going to face off against Poland, and Wales versus Estonia. And that's virtually what's going on in the world of soccer as we inch closer and closer to yet another football game. The NFL season resumes tomorrow, and I'm going to get into it then. But with that said, I want to thank everyone for listening to this piece. I hope all is well. Once again, first off, I want to apologize for all the names that I butchered. I plan on getting them right. I want to thank the MLB and the FIFA websites for giving me the facts and figures that I needed in order to do this. And of course, ESPN as well. I would also like to thank everyone for listening to this piece again. Once again, today is Wednesday, September 8th, 2021. Once all of today's exhibitions and matchups are done, I will come back tomorrow on Thursday, September 9th, as we navigate through the world of sports one day at a time. Thanks for listening to my piece. I'm James Sims, and this is The Elite, and I'll catch you tomorrow. I'll catch you with 3 individual profiles after this, but in terms of what's going on with the day by day, I'll catch you tomorrow. Thanks for listening to my piece. Peace out.